I bring a lot to the table, right? I bring my experience, I bring my teams, my crews, I bring my processes, I bring the risk, right? A lot of times the properties and loans go into my name. So I have all of the risk. So I look for partners who just bring money to the table. They're my money partners. And a lot of people think you have to be like super rich or things like that. But you have to remember, I'm investing in Section 8 properties. And in my market, the average cost of a house is about $70,000. So let's say if we're doing $100,000 house or whatever, you're only bringing $20,000 to me, right? I'm financing the rest and I'm taking that risk. So yeah, I'm looking for just money partners. They bring in the money to cover the down payment and they bring in the money to cover closing costs. And then any like expenses, of course, and income and things like that, we do everything 50-50 net. I like it because again, like I said, it gives me the ability to have infinite partnerships. Um, before when I was doing it, I was doing it on my own. And I could buy like a couple of houses here and there, but then I would have to go back and build more capital myself to go and buy more. And that was really stopping me from being able to scale because I didn't have enough business, because of my money was just my money. I didn't have enough to like keep it going over and over and over like a factory. And so once I started partnering with people, I was like, oh, wow, we never stop. Like the money keeps coming in from my money partners. So I'm able to keep the operations going, keeping the crews busy, making sure that our tenants are being screened and having the right staff in place, having great relationships with lenders and contractors because I'm bringing so much business. So for me, once I did those first few partnerships, there was really no other way that I wanted to invest. I absolutely love working with money partners. It makes my job so much easier. And I really like seeing money partners too, especially the ones who come from like a 9-to-5 world, or maybe there's, small business owners and things like that. It's really cool watching them like have the aha moment of like real residual income. And then even when we refinance out sometimes and they get the big lump sum, they're like, yeah, but I didn't do anything. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you got me to partner with. So my ideal partners, and some, they bring the down payment and cover the closing costs. And of course, I bring the experience, the expertise, my team, and then I take all of the risk on the investment. Did I answer that? Okay, we going out of order. Thought you were going to ask me something else. Okay. So you want to know? Okay. For me, you got to hold that cue card a little bit higher. Okay. My ideal part. Okay. Okay. So what they're asking me really is kind of tell you like, what am I looking for in a partner? Like I said, my ideal partner, but they wanted like, what am I looking for in a partner? So for me, it's two main things I'm looking for. And really they both come down to alignment. I'll tell you what they are and then I'll explain them separately. So for me, I'm making sure that our goals are aligned, right? Our investment goals have to be aligned. And I'm also making sure that we are aligned in terms of personality and character, values, integrity, and things like that. So I'm just looking for alignment in our goals and alignment in who we are as humans. Okay, let me break that down a little bit. In terms of being aligned with our goals, my goal is cash flow. That's why I only work in markets where I can buy houses really inexpensively, but they have really high rents that they're paying me. So that's how I'm able to have those huge profit margins in terms of cash flow. So cash flow is my goal for Section 8. Now, obviously, I still do subject to and owner financing. That's a different conversation. But in terms of Section 8, I'm looking for cash flow. The higher, the better. And I'm looking for long-term cash flow. So a lot of times I'm holding these properties, I want to hold them for 20 years. As long as the house is standing, I want to have a renter in there bringing me in cash flow every single month. This is my bread and butter. This is how I take care of myself, how I take care of my family. So the cash flow is very important to me. But let's say if a partner comes in and they're very interested in flips, right? They want to buy a house cheap, fix it up, and then resell it and get that big money back and then do it again and again. Well, I'm not a good partner for that. I've already lived the flip life. I have matured from that. I'm at my age, I'm not about that hustle, right? Because the flips are a lot. So I wouldn't be a good partner for them. I don't want quick short term, a quick check, and then I got to put all that check back into something else. I like having my stable long-term cash flow. So we wouldn't be a good partnership. We would not be aligned in our investment goals. Okay. in terms of alignment of values and character and things like that, look, I'm not saying I'm Mother Teresa, but I will say, I have a master's degree in education. I was a school principal for a long time and a teacher. I currently serve on the board for the YMCA, board of directors. So I have a heart to give, a heart to help, but I also have a lot of leadership and professional experience. So for me, I wouldn't work well with, let's say, someone who's combative or someone who, has subpar ethics. Like they're asking me to do things under the table and can, like, I'm creative, I can get creative, but within the law, I don't want anyone trying to talk me into doing anything that seems scammy. I'm good on that. So that's what I mean in terms of being aligned, like in our personalities and in our values. I mean, I work, and I'm not judging. I work with rappers all the way to dentists, doctors, other real estate investors, teachers, nurses, retirees. I've worked with ex-felons. I've worked with, I mean, a plethora of people, right? So I don't think what you do or what you've experienced in life necessarily qualifies you or disqualifies you, but who you are as a person, right? For me, means a lot. So those, if I think I answered that question, like what I'm looking for in my ideal partner. All right. Can we go in order now? Okay, what my partners are looking for in me. And you mean like my strengths and weaknesses, right? My strengths and weaknesses. So I feel like you're giving me a job interview right now, and I don't want a job. My strengths, in my opinion, are leadership, right? I've been in leadership my entire life. I have a master's degree in educational leadership and supervision. I was a school leader forever. I've always been an entrepreneur since I was 21. I've started multiple businesses or grown multiple businesses. So I've always served in a leadership capacity. I'm on a board of directors for one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the world, So leadership has always been my greatest quality. And for me, that just means influencing people to get on board with my vision in a way where they still feel empowered and seen and heard. Also, standardization is a strength of mine, standard operating procedures, making sure that we're doing one thing really well and we do it over and over and over the same way, because that's how I'm able to guarantee a result and in a return, right? I'm able to guarantee that because I know we do the same thing the same way every single time. So standardization will also be a strength of mine. And then I'm creative. Of course, we're talking right now about Section 8, but most of my portfolio started with subject to deals and owner financing deals, so I have an ability to be creative and really think outside of the box. So I think those are the strengths that my partners are contacting me for. And then, of course, I mean, my experience, right? I mean, Section 8 investing is what I've been doing for the past 6 or 7 years. It's all that I do. It's what my mentor does. So I digress. Weaknesses. I had to write this down. This really, man, I had to think about this. But the truth is, I am not strong in mundane administrative tasks. It bores me to tears to not use my brain to its fullest capacity for me, right? So that's why I always have an assistant. I always have to have a chief operating officer, someone who loves that they live for like the small mundane tasks and things like that, right? So that would be a weakness for me. Also, I'm not the best at hiding my disdain for incompetence. I'm not the best at hiding that. And I think that's because I was such a great follower and such a great mentee, that which is, I think, is what propelled me into leadership, right? Being such a great follower and learner and things like that. So I have high expectations for myself and the people around me. So, and again, with our standardization, I know that if anyone who's working with me, I know I've given you the blueprint. I know I've told you, here's how we do it. I've modeled it for you. So when we get to a place where, let's say it's I don't know, a subcontractor or something like that, and we get to a place where you're not delivering the results that we discussed, then I think either one of two things went wrong. Either you didn't truly have the capacity to give the service that you said you could, or you had the capacity, but for whatever reason chose not to give me the gold standard, and neither of those are going to work for me. I wouldn't say I'm mean about it, but that's it. So, I mean, people's experience with me, especially the people who work for me, and even, subcontractors, I hire slow. I like, even with my tenants, I like to vet. I want to know who you are. I want to screen you because once you're in, I want you to stay in. However, I think Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey says it best. Believe people the first time. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. So if someone's doing something unethical, fraudulent, or like stealing or anything like that, you are immediately fired. I don't even think about it. I don't need to have a conversation with you because somebody who's aligned with the ethics of my company wouldn't even think to do anything like that. So I hire slow and I fire fast. I mean, super fast with the speed of light fast. So I think those might be some of my perceived weaknesses, but I know my weaknesses. That's why I hire the right people around me. Yeah, go. Um, I'll get to that. They're asking me to go ahead and go into a deal analysis and kind of show the numbers on some of the deals that I'm doing. I am going to get to that. I want to do that at the end because I'm going to have to share my screen and it's going to be like a little bit of toggling and things going on if I do that, but I will definitely get to that. Yes. Okay. So, I'll go into finances. All right. So in terms of finances, and I mean, just like very vaguely, transparency is key in our partnerships when it comes to finances. So, for instance, I'm bringing to the table my experience, right? I'm taking all of the risks and things like that. So, I need to show you my proof of experience and my proof of risk tolerance. And so, a lot of times I do that by like, I'll show you my HUD statements or I'll show you my paperwork from Section 8 from like some recent deals that I did or something like that. Just to kind of show like my proof of experience and to show my proof of risk. Like sometimes I'll just show you my credit score that shows financial discipline, that shows why I don't mind putting the mortgages or things like that in my name, and taking the majority of the risk because I trust myself, right? But on the other hand, if you're my partner and you're bringing the money to the deal, then I just really need proof of funds. I need proof that you have the money to cover the down payment, cover the closing costs, and then like a little bit for reserves and things like that, because things happen in real estate investing, right? And that could mean like bank statements, or it could be like some people show their retirement or their savings accounts and things like that. And again, because we're investing in a market that where the houses are so inexpensive, usually it's like about $20,000 that I need to see as proof of funds. And then also, I would like for you to be transparent with me if you have any other like financial obligations or expenses or liabilities that might blow back on our partnership. So for instance, I don't know if I can't think of something. I don't even know if this is true, but I'll just give an example that's probably not even true. But like, let's say if you owe child support or something like that. I don't know how that works, but if you owe child support or something, and let's say the government says, well, anything that you own, we're going to take half or something like that, and we own this together, then I want to know that up front because I don't want to be liable or at risk for that. And I'm not saying that disqualifies you. That just means we need to make sure that we have some shelters or some strategies in place where my side of the investment is protected. So that's what I mean by just being really transparent about finances and things like that. And of course, on my end, I am also very transparent about my finances, my experience, and my risk tolerance. Yeah. I think I had everything with that one. Okay. Partners. All right. So the question is, when I'm working with partners, like are spouses involved, and what does that look like? So I'll talk about that. Yes, I want to meet your spouse. I want to get to know your spouse too, because I was married for a very long time. I was married for my entire life. So I understand the importance of having your significant other or your spouse as part of the decision-making process. And I know that it can go either way. So it's important for me to get to know you guys as one because you're married as one. Again, I was married for a long time. I mean, I'm not married now. So if you're single, rich and fine, hey, you call me. Don't call me. But yeah, so I understand the dynamic of marriage and I understand the importance of that partnership. Your main partnership in life is with your spouse. And the same thing I said about like just vetting my potential partners. I want to know your spouse's personality. Are they pessimistic? Are they always like skeptical? Are they berating you? Do they not believe in you? because that affects me too. Let's say we're working on a deal together and you have your spouses, your spouses in your ear telling you you're not good enough and this is dumb and why would you do that? I mean, that's going to impact you and ultimately impact us. Whereas if you have a spouse that's upbeat and excited for you, they might have nothing to do with the investment at all, right? But they just have a personality that's supportive of you. And, if things get tough, they're going to be a great support system for you. That's important to me because I know when you go home at night, you have someone, pushing positivity in you and you have a partner who believes in you and who trusts you. So it is important for me to get to know the spouse. I've So spouses have always been really, really good. I always include them. I've had one instance where I was working with a partner and it wasn't the partner's spouse, it was the partner's other business partner. So in some, the partner and I, had come to an agreement. We had already signed contracts and everything like that. And then after a couple weeks after, he was like, well, I have another partner that I work with, and I want to see if I can bring him in this partnership. And me and him would just do everything 50-50 in our partnership or whatever. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I met the partner very briefly, but I honestly did not vet them as thoroughly as I would a partner who I was working directly with. And that was a huge mistake. It was a disaster.